this to create the awareness about this NISP within the institute, and all the faculty and students should know about this policy and what is it, what are the contents and what are the recommendations which are there in this policy. Okay, it's not it's not easy to understand the policy in 1 hour, but as and when we go on implementing and start implementing it, we will have to go to the details of each and every point. But right now the objective is to create the awareness about this policy and to just understand what are the contents which are there in this policy. I'm going to use some of the terms during this seminar, that is MIC. MIC is a MHRD Innovation Cell, and IICFR as you see this logos on this screen, where there are multiple IICs who are registered with this MIC. This is the logo of MIC, and we are supposed, if we are conducting any events related to entrepreneurship, innovation and startup activities, then we are supposed to have these logos on all the documents. And this MIC was launched in 2018. MHRD started this initiative, and this MIC, that is MHRD Innovation Cell, is launched in 2018. And the same year we joined MIC, and right now there are around 1800 higher education institutes who are registered, and maybe this year the number might have increased. So I'm going to use the term as MIC, which is MHRD Innovation Cell. Even I want to share that now they have changed the name of the ministry. That is now ministry. It is recognized as Ministry of Education. So henceforward, maybe we will get the documents with the name as MOE, that is Ministry of Education, instead of MHRD. And so the terms are MIC, IIC, FRCRC, and then MOE and NISP that I'm going to use. We have registered with MIC in 2018. And we have now quite stabilized with a proper innovation council cell, and all the events are happening properly. And this IICFR-CRC is acting as an interface between the institute and MIC. That I would like to share it again. And IICFR-CRC is showcasing all the activities which are happening within the institute related to innovation, entrepreneurship, and startup. To MIC, and MIC is evaluating all the institutes once in a year, and or within the 4 quarters, and at the end of the year they issue the certificate to the institutes depending on their performance. And this year we have got 4.5 stars out of 5. I should acknowledge all the councils and the faculties who have contributed to showcase the events happening within the institute. MIC is providing multiple guidelines and schedules to IICs, and IICs have to perform all the activities as per the schedule, at least minimum activities, and they have to report MICs. Then this NISP was first launched by AICT in 2016. But then they realized that they have to revise, and they have to come up with some detailed documentation. So they joined with MIC, and both of them, they formed together a committee of around 15 people who worked and studied about the startup cultures and entrepreneurship, and they came up with this detailed documentation or the detailed policy in 2019. And in September 2019 they have published this policy document. As a next step to IIC work, they suggested us to join the NISP campaign. So this year we have joined this NISP campaign, and we are a part of we are one of the higher education institutes who are committed to work in this direction. Because even in one of the meeting, AICT clearly mentioned that the higher education institutes who are active in IIC related activities and like NISP related activities, they are going to give the preference to that institutes whenever we want any particular help, or we want to participate in or get some schemes from AICT. So AICT clearly mentioned that they are going to give the preference to the institutes who are active in this particular field of startup. So we can say that this NISP is the guiding framework. It is actually a guiding framework for higher education institutes, And this framework is created to encourage teachers and students to come up with the startups. Okay, so the expectation is that the every teacher should have at least experience of creating one startup, and if the teacher is experienced, automatically that will be helpful to the students. So teacher should join the students, and jointly together they should come up, they can have their team. One teacher at least should be working on one particular innovative idea, and jointly they should come up with the startup during their college life or during their academics. So while the students are there in the college for 4 years, during that period they should come up with something which is converted from idea to prototype, to a product, to enterprise, and then the financial success. So maybe some of the startups may fail, but they are saying that even if it is failing, you are learning a lot. And actually when you are entering into this field, you can also study multiple case studies, even they are failed, and you learn a lot out of it. So here these HEIs are acting as a change maker in the environment, to bring some change in the current culture of higher education institutes, because we were focusing only on the teaching and learning part, but now this is something new which HEI should handle, and it is a job of HEI to create the ecosystem which is supporting the culture of startup and entrepreneurship within the institute. And here teachers and students may be acting as a role of innovators or entrepreneurs, where the innovator is the person who is creating or having some innovative idea, or he introduces some idea or new service or existing service with some innovative methods, or a new product with which has some high or which is of great use to the society. And as an entrepreneur, they may bring that product into the market, and they may create their own startup, and they may create the wealth and value out of this startup. So here these HEIs are acting as a change maker, and teachers and students may be acting as an innovator or entrepreneur, and they should, like they are suggesting that you should have the experience of at least creating a startup. So the aim of NISP is to foster the innovation within the institute, and to promote and pave the way of developing and supporting entrepreneurship culture in HEIs. So this is not going to happen in one day, but because the first step is to give the trainings, and IIC has to ensure that like some training programs are happening, and the students and faculty are trained to pursue this particular task.
Ma'am, Swati, ma'am, sorry
Yeah,
to disturb you.
yeah.
Alice, Ashwini, and Daga sir are waiting to join.
Acha. Actually, when the presentation is started, no, sometimes it doesn't
Yes,
allow
yes,
to
yes,
admit.
yes.
Hmm. So we were just discussing that about that NISP is a guiding framework for higher education institutes, and to encourage the stakeholders like teachers and students to come up with their own startups. And at least one faculty should be working on one idea with a team of students. And I know that like we are having second year, third year student, and we are working as a project guide or mentors to the teams, so we can easily achieve this task. It may take time, but we once we are entering into this field, it will be possible. And the aim of NISP is to foster the innovation within the institute and to promote the entrepreneurship and startup culture in higher education institutes. So with this slogan of Atmanirbhar Bharat, which government is saying always, if India aspires to become a $5 trillion economy by 2024, then how these higher education institutes can contribute to achieve this particular goal? Okay, so they can be uh, one way is that higher education institutes are contributing to achieve this goal, to become a $5 trillion economy by 2024. So what higher education institutes can do is that they can create the high quality entrepreneurs who are capable of doing cutting edge research and innovation. and they come up as an entrepreneur, and they create the jobs, or they become the employer, and they can employ the students of the same institute, or they create the employment overall, and they earn uh, uh, out of it. So they generate the wealth and value. So one way is that HEIs should create the high quality entrepreneurs within their institute, who are having their own startups and own business.
Swati, sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
some people are trying to join the class too at the meet, I think.
Okay, so in between I'll switch. Okay, so MHRD, that MHRD's innovation cell, that is MIC, they came up with multiple initiatives to achieve this task, and they started organizing multiple competitions like Smart India Hackathon, international hackathons. So they are encouraging students to participate in hackathon and improve their skills. And they are also they have started ATL ranking of the institutions on the basis of innovations, and they are recommending institutes to create or establish an institution innovation council, IIC. And the next step or extension of IIC is joining the NISP campaign. And this NISP document gives the guidelines and recommendations about forming the rules and regulations. It's not possible for the institute to follow each and every it's not possible for the institute to follow each and everything which is there in the policy in one shot. So slowly within, we have to invest our time and money, and slowly with some after some years or 1 or 2 years, it will be possible for us to implement this policy completely. So it's not possible, because depending on the experience of the institute in this entrepreneurship world, we will have to identify our strengths and weaknesses, and depending on that, um, we will have to start progressing in this direction. So, so this IIC is representing the institute. As I said, IIC is representing the institute, and they are submitting. They have to organize. Or they are showcasing the sessions, idea competitions, hackathons, technical festivals, training sessions, and they're showcasing all these events to MIC. And this NISP. So what is the major task that, like MIC is organizing the Smart India hackathons, as well as they are organizing one national level idea competition every year. And that is promoted through IIC. So it is the job of IIC to ensure that there is some idea competition happening within the institute, and we have to organize about idea competition within the institute, as well as then the next level of this idea competition is implementation of this idea, develop this idea. Okay, so they are suggesting IICs that you should encourage that maximum students should participate in idea competition. So they are thinking about identifying innovative idea. After identification of the idea, or for their idea, they have to develop this idea, and then they have to validate this proof of concept, that is called as POC. So first you identify the idea, then you need to develop the idea, proof of concept, validate your proof of concept, and then you create the prototype, then you create the business model for that, and then your prototype is ready. So these are the steps. So we are organizing. If we observe all the events happening in the institute, we are organizing multiple training sessions to identify to motivate the students by learning the experiences from startup founders, or like my story kind of sessions, and then about design thinking or business model plan, how to create that plan. So all such kind of sessions are organized through like within the institute, and the students and the faculties are trained in that, and they should convert their idea into a prototype. And once so this is happening within the institute. And so this idea competition, after the idea competition within the institute, we have to shortlist some of the ideas, and then some of the teams will go ahead in the next level, that is proof of concept competition. And POC competition, some of the teams will be shortlisted and they are going to the they will be going to the next level, and then we are submitting that data to MIC, and then MIC, they are having their mentors and they are having their training sessions. They along with mentoring, they evaluate these teams, and finally the teams will be selected for the final round. And if the teams are winning in that national competition, then they are provided with all the support like funds and some mentoring and some, to convert their prototype into a startup. Okay, so I think I have conveyed this in a proper manner. Like, I'll just summarize this again. Like, within the institute, we are conducting idea competition. We are inviting the ideas. Then the teams are supposed to build the proof of concept, and then the shortlisted teams will be creating the actual prototype and business plan for their idea, and then the shortlisted teams will be will represent our institute to MIC, and then the MIC mentors, they evaluate or they guide these teams. If the team is lacking some of the information, then they guide them also. Plus they are evaluating it, and they are shortlisting the teams to appear in the final round. And if they are winning in the final round, then they are given all the support to convert their prototype into a product and to launch it into the market and to come up with their own startup. So they are also assisting and providing funds and mentoring. All kinds of help is provided to the teams. So this year also we have to submit the information about the ideas, and one of the thing to like from the 4.5 star to 5 we got 4.5 stars this year. To get 5 stars, if we are increasing number of idea teams, participating idea teams, at least in the first level, that will be the added advantage this year. So we have to encourage everyone, like my request is that all the faculty are having their groups of mini projects, and by the end of this month, at least one page of idea abstract should be submitted by the students, and we can show multiple ideas teams in the first level. So these are the initiatives which are started by MIC to create this entrepreneurship culture and startup culture within the institute. Even they are recommending that teachers, teaching faculty should concentrate on this research and innovation and startup things. And this year they suggested to include one or two non-teaching members in the IISc council to perform the jobs of photos, videos, uploading videos, and reports and all. So they are saying that teachers should concentrate on this. So as I said, as these students and faculties are being innovators, these innovators have to do the things differently. Like, we may not be doing multiple things, but when we are selecting any idea, we have to do that idea or implement that idea in a different manner, in an innovative manner. And this leads to disruptive technologies like this. All these technologies is the result of innovations. That AI, blockchain, 3D printing, and in this new technologies, there is lots of scope to get the ideas. And in Indians by default are innovators. Even we can find out in rural areas, people are doing their jobs in an innovative manner. Coming to the policy, there are few just these are the highlighting features of the policy. That like they are suggesting us, like, this is the policy, this is the recommendation by them, AICTE and MIC together. But first we have to come up with by understanding our strengths and weaknesses, we have to come up with the institute level policy, and we can go on refining it after doing some assessments. These are some highlighted points in this version of this policy, that allocate some innovation fund up to 1% of the total budget for supporting innovative projects and startups. So if any project needs some help and purchasing or some they need some equipments or something like that, any support they need, 1% of the budget can be allocated for them. If the students or faculty, they are dedicatedly working on the startup, then give the concession to the students. Maybe they are granted some in terms of attendance, or they can take even the semester break, or a year, up to year of break, without affecting their remarks in the report card, so that they can make up for that. So such kind of schemes they are suggesting, because but this may be applicable for autonomous universities about a break. So then if the institute is establishing incubation center, they are suggesting that you should have the incubation center. If you are not having any experience in the incubation, as an incubation, independent incubation unit, you can initially start working with some other, you can tie up with some other entity, and you can work with them for 6 months, understand everything, and then you can start your own incubation center independently. And if through the incubation center, if you are providing various services, to the startup teams, then in that case, if we can ask them to pay the rent as per the utilization of the resources by the institute, or even for your own teams, you can go for the zero payment model in the beginning. Or they are also suggesting that even if the teams are utilizing some resources, only within the range of 2 to 9.5% of equity can be claimed by the institute's incubator, not more than that, because otherwise it's a new startup and survival of the startup is difficult. Even if the inventors are not utilizing the facilities and resources extensively, then their ownership of IPR will be complete ownership is with the inventor, if they are not utilizing the facilities and resources. And so if we properly observe this policy, there are around 6 sections. There are 6 sections in this policy. The first section is about the strategies and conversions, governance for promoting innovation and entrepreneurship, and it has some sub points. So then the second one is about the norms for the faculty and students. Norms for the faculty and students. Third one is about the incubation and pre-incubation support. Fourth one is about the IP ownership rights for the technologies developed at higher education institutes. Fifth one is about pedagogy and learning interventions for supporting innovations and startups. And then the sixth one is about the assessment, like how much, how it is, what is the impact, and you do the assessment of your work that is done during the year, and then you can again revive or renew or make changes to achieve these goals. So overall, there are 6 sections. So I'm just giving the introduction about the about these sections. Here, as a strategy and governance, they're saying that the institute should formulate the institute level policy document by referring, or it should be in line with NISP and state level policy documents. Then you can incorporate some statements for which are indicating the importance of innovation and entrepreneurship as a mission statement for the institute. And if we are adding some mission statements, then automatically the departments will have to add their POs or modify their POs and PEOs, and then the faculty will have to have their CO, course outcome statements, in line with this program outcomes for the department. So that means everyone is within the institute knows the importance of innovation and entrepreneurship. So this is to give the importance to and to build the culture within the institute. And a senior faculty should work with this agenda dedicatedly for this work. Within the department, you need to have a proper coordination so that so that you promote some interdisciplinary projects. Even institute can provide services and facilities to the outsider entrepreneurs if they are having the incubation center. A resource mobilization plan should be there in place, and the resources, like if you want to generate the funds, then 1% of the fund can be your own resource. Then get the funds from by applying to state and central agencies. Um, State and central agencies. Then you can request to the private firms for incubation fund support, and you need to have a strong alumni network, and you can get the help from alumni in terms of mentorship or consultant. They can act as a consultant, or they can act as a mentor, or they can sponsor some funds, or they can donate. So these are the multiple ways through which you can generate your resources. And institute should be active, should join IIC network. They should participate in SIH competitions and IRA. So I think we are doing all these things. Plus, they are saying that to promote the importance of, you have to promote and highlight in the institutional programs like conferences, workshops, and convocations, this importance of innovation and entrepreneurship. So the subsection within this strategies and within strategies and governance is that the HCIs should ensure that maximum students are participating in the idea competitions. These are the steps which I just now said. That is a pre-incubation process. Like identify the idea, develop the solution, validate your proof of concept POC, develop the prototype, have the business model and proposal generation. This is a pre-incubation process. Once this is done, it can be they can join a incubator, and they can link and collaborate with incubation unit within the institute or outside the institute, and they can get the mentoring and support to convert their prototype proposal or prototype into a product and bring it into the market. So that support will be provided within the incubation unit of the institute. And in order to train them, like have some competitions, hackathons, training programs, and consider this, if the student is working on the dedicated startup, it can be considered as an internship, and we can allocate the credit points to the students. Plus, you can a higher education institute should recruit the staff. This is in case of incubation center. They recruit a dedicated staff who is available always, and anyone can go and take the help of the staff, which is a person in the incubation center. And faculty and department should have proper communication and collaborative. They should work in collaboration and in coherence, so that promote the interdisciplinary projects. Plus, the faculty and staff is encouraged to do courses, training, and certificates on innovations, entrepreneurship, and IPR. So they need to they are encouraged. They should do all the trainings or certifications, so they are qualified and they understand about the things which have to which are needed to work. And then they should be rewarded with some incentives and like awards, or even in PBAS, we should have some points too that can be given to the faculty if they are working in this. Then in the third section of collaboration and co-creation and business relationship with and knowledge exchange, they are just saying that you need to, in your policy document, you need to write down how you are going to build the relationship with the external entities, like the startup founders, entrepreneurs, or experienced persons who are going to mentor them, and what are the how the knowledge exchange will happen, and what will be the what will be the remuneration that can be given to the external entity, or how the knowledge is shared within the institute. So we may be having a website where we can keep the repository of ideas, the training links, and some help if anyone wants to get it. The knowledge exchange should happen through this. In the second section, they're talking about the norms for the faculty and students. So the students, for students, to motivate the student, you can you can consider his work on the idea, or encourage him to join any incubation center, encourage him to do the internship in the startup, or let him work on his own idea. and it can be treated as an internship. Assign some credits. Even for mini project, if he's dedicatedly working on startup, he can work in place of, instead of mini project or major project or seminars or summer trainings, he's allowed to work on his idea. If he wants a break, then allow him to take the break of a year without affecting his academics, and some attendance also can be granted to such teams, but they have to apply to the committee, and it will be reviewed by them, and then the decision will be taken. And even if the students are staying in the hostel, then they can give the hostel address or incubation or incubation unit address to register their venture when they are studying at HUI. So allow them to use this address when they are registering for the startups. So these are some of the things which are given, allowed to the students. For the faculty also, faculty can act as a mentor, or faculty can act as a consultant, or faculty can join this team and be a part of a team, and he can work as a founder. So allow the faculty to do that. If the faculty wants to have some leave for working on that, then that can also be granted. And appraisal points can be allocated at 3 levels. For doing some trainings, we can give some points to the faculty. If he is working on idea to prototype conversion, some of the points can be given to the faculty. And if they are reaching to the startup, then we can have some maximum points in the appraisal. Then for faculty startups, it is clearly mentioned that the faculty, if faculty is working already on some research project, then they should clearly separate the research project with the startup work, because they should not be mixed with each other, and he should not appoint any other staff or engage any other staff for this work. So there should be clear separation between his research work happening in the institute and the startup work. If we are having the incubation center, actually we are trying for, going to apply for incubation center. If we are having an incubation center, then the guidance should be available to everyone 24/7 by appointing a dedicated person. And if you are, I think I've said this, that if you are providing some services on rental basis, we can provide them, or in the form of equity sharing or zero payment basis. But if it is equity, it should be within the range of 2 to 9.5%. And in terms of the services, like we can offer the services like the space utilization or infrastructure usage, or as a mentor, or as a seed fund, or even if they want accountant, legal or patent support, that can also be provided. Or we can go for the model for, if it is our team, our college students, then we can give cooling period of 3 months to settle them. And related to IPR rights, if the inventor will have all the rights, intellectual property rights with him if he is not utilizing any major resources of the incubation unit, that is also mentioned here. For pedagogy and learning interventions for the entrepreneurship development, include all these things as a learning outcomes, like in the COs, up to COs from the faculty, at the faculty level. The COs will be should be there, which are in line with this agenda of entrepreneurship. So the curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular activities which are happening within the institute may go in line with this agenda to achieve this goal. So, like once in a year, we can award the students or teams or faculties during convocation ceremonies or the annual functions, to encourage and motivate the students. During the lectures or during the curriculum, the teachers also are suggested that they should have the case studies on the real world problems and the success stories or success or failure stories. So your real world scenarios, whenever you are giving the projects or innovations to the students, mini projects, even orient them to select a problem and to get the solution in an innovative manner. They are saying that even the institutes can start the full-time program on innovation and entrepreneurship, and they came up with some course which the institutes can start. Then the last point is about the assessment, impact assessment, performance impact assessment. Like at the end of the year, you just assess yourself that how much you have achieved in this year, and then you can go on refining and take the corrective measures, and you should improve. Uh, im- you should improve. So these were the elements which are there, and I my objective was to just introduce you about this NISP, but it is not in detail. As and when we go on implementing, we will have to go through each and every detail. So we are working on creating the institute level policy document. So before ending the session, I would like to remind that just encourage your project team members and identify the at least one team, every faculty at least one team, and you motivate them and ask them to submit at least one page of idea abstract, which we have to submit by the end of this month. So the deadline is the end of this month. In the last week of this month, we need to submit as many ideas as possible. And then maybe in the next semester, we will be having a competition where we will have where we will be having the POC competition, where we will see that how this particular idea is implemented by the students. So I hope I have given the overview of this NISP. So thank you everyone for attending and listening to me carefully. If you have any questions, then you can ask.
Ma'am, I have one question. Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, hello. Say, Swapnali.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, that idea should be software, yeah, it's combined, hardware should be included.
It can be anything, no? Your idea may be idea which may be software oriented, or it will be the combination of software and hardware, or it can be only hardware also. But it should be something which is adding some quality or to the existing product, or it should be a new way of doing something.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
It can be anything, any innovative project. So please feel free to ask anything. And my request is that encourage your team, and you submit, like we are working along with ESIL, and we will be circulating some information about this idea submissions, and motivate your team members to submit at least one idea. And then in the next semester we'll be having the POC competition, so they will go ahead in the POC competition next year. AICT clearly mentioned that if the institutes need to be active in order to get all the benefits which AICT is providing to the institute. So there is no way, we have to work on.
When are we planning the idea competition?
Idea competition, like every year we we have it in the even semester, but now in this they are asking us to submit the idea abstract before 31st January. So one page idea abstract, like name of the idea and the description is required to be submitted before the end of this month.
So
But
you have to
actually,
start collecting early, no?
yes. We are going to have a meeting today, and this year I'm happy to say that the students are active. They have understood this job. We also have understood, and they are active. So even if tomorrow there is exam, we are going to meet for some time today with ESEL. And even they suggested, this is a major guideline, that you need to have ESEL, startup cell, IDC, and working actively within the institute to achieve this goal.
Okay. Actually, there are a lot of students who are doing good things. No, recently our Hitendra brought one candidate.
Yeah.
So, there are a lot of good, innovative ideas coming up from our students. Only thing is, I don't know how we can consolidate those things.
Yeah, so we are planning to share the guidelines, like one, and then this, because now the exams are there, so we cannot organize a big competition this semester. Till 20th January, the students are busy. So at least one page documentation they can submit, that we will submit to MIC as a report, and we will showcase all the teams. And then in the next semester, in the beginning February or March, we will have, in the beginning of March or end of the February, you will be having the competition. Last year we planned in Crescendo, or no, before. Crescendo.
Okay. All the best.
So thank you, everyone. So we can.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Swati.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, then. Na?
Okay, bye. So I'm ending the meeting.
Yes. Okay. Go.